Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Are You Well? You're coming to you from the Rush Wellness Center, and today we are talking about supercharging your brain. We know that a lot of uncertainty has really kind of thrown us off our game, and the key is just to recognize that it's there, because a lot of times uncertainty is going to challenge what you thought you knew. And so sometimes you just have to embrace it, see if you can make sense of it, and identify the distress you're having, because that will actually challenge how your brain is functioning. The results is up to you. Do you want to recognize them and manage the feelings? It's really good. And you want to take advantage of those who care about you, including faculty, advisors, anyone in the university and the Rush Center for Clinical Wellness to kind of help you through this. All right. So the music that I was playing earlier, you can just Google beautiful piano music, and it's just kind of nice to have something um, that is playing in the background that's very calming, that has to do with the outdoors, or better yet, if you can go outdoors and take a little break, it's always a very nice kind of thing to be able to do. All right, so the question for today is, are you supercharged? So supercharging your brain is not intended to apply making it work faster is better, because that's not true. There are things that we do every day that really do affect the way that our brain processes information. The goal is to make it work more efficient, given the tasks ahead of you as you prepare for the end of course evaluations, exams, decisions that you're making, and the tips that are shared throughout the year on Are You Well workshops hopefully have given you some good ideas. Today, we'll look at what's challenging our brain's optimal functioning, and we will try to see what we can do to keep it running on all cylinders to bring your year to a successful close. So our goal is being more efficient, not faster. Okay, so here's a question for you. If you would use your phone and scan the QR code, for those of you who are on the phone, we've got slido.com and the passcode is LIVUV1. The question is, what is your biggest challenge preparing for the end of the term, the projects that you have going on? What kinds of things do you have that are challenging you? You guys that are typing, you're already in the survey, so go ahead and put in your answer of things that you feel are challenging you as you're preparing. Being busy, absolutely. Trying to stay focused. Yeah, there's so much going on, especially if it's spring, right? That starts to pull at you a little bit. Um, all the holiday things that are happening around now. Deadlines, definitely. Expectations. You got to think about whose expectations are there, is it? And are you able to meet them? Is it possible? Yeah, it's basically feeling tired, right? Mm. It's good to recognize that. That's the important thing, that the things that are challenging you, you know what they are. And you could actually write them down if you needed to take a look at that. Juggling too much. And I think that's a really good idea of having that quantifier there, that it is too much. I can do this much, but when it gets here, that's the 7 spinning plates. There's one always ready to go, right? All right, so the next question I have for you is, what do you need to feel supported? So some of this stuff you can't get rid of. Some of this stuff is yours, right? And so what kinds of things do you need to feel supported when you are juggling, when you do feel like you have too much, when you are tired? What do you need? Yeah, rest, leadership support. If you can, define what support is, because that's, I think, a really tough question. Like when I say I need support, what do I need? Do I need somebody to hear me, listen to me? Do I need somebody to walk with me? What do I need? So really try to be able to define it. Yeah, more PTO. Yep, you got it. Someone to advocate for you. Yes. And sometimes they are advocating for you and you just don't know, but sometimes we need to do better communicating what's going on. So yes, absolutely. Taking breaks, yes, definitely. Checking in. I think check-ins are so helpful. Just knowing somebody cares about you, right? Somebody is listening to you, they hear you, they follow up to see how things are going. It's really important. You know, the recenter. Anytime you have any time away scheduled, that's a very helpful thing too, because you're looking forward to something. So that's very helpful as well. Thank you for all of you who have added in there. Yeah, acknowledging. I think that's really important, acknowledging. All right, so let's get to the reality of this whole thing. If you think you're a good multitasker, I'm going to tell you you're delusional. So if you were multitasking during studying, does the information get stored in your striatum or your hippocampus? Anybody know the answer to that? Maybe you put it in the chat or unmute. Think about it for a moment. Multitasking actually increases the production of stress hormones. So you think you're doing good, right? By doing like 5 things at the same time. Cortisol and adrenaline go up. It overstimulates your brain. It really does create a fog that sometimes you don't even remember, oh, wait, I did that already, kind of thing. It can also lead to aggressive and impulsive behavior. So it's like, that's not what you want. It creates a dopamine addiction feedback loop. So it's actually rewarding your brain to lose focus, to cause you to constantly search for external stimuli. So you see a text pop up or a social media message or something else, and your brain is looking for that, looking for ways to distract and add more to your multitasking. Your prefrontal cortex up in the front here has a novelty bias, and it's easily hijacked by something new. So if you try to focus when you answer your phone, check emails, send a message, it actually creates a burst of endogenous opioids. So you've kind of addicted to distraction. Rapidly shifting from one task to another causes your prefrontal cortex and your striatum to burn oxygenated glucose. That's the exact thing that you need to stay on task, so you're burning it. We quickly can feel exhausted, even disoriented. When we've depleted the nutrients in and out of our brain, slowly the cognitive and physical performance start to drop. You're exhausted, and you might find yourself needing to snack. Learning while multitasking causes new information to go to the wrong part of your brain. So here's the answer. Like if you're studying and you have TV on, the information goes to your striatum, where the new procedure skills usually go. So instead of putting it in your hippocampus where you can bring it back quickly, where it's organized and categorized and easy to retrieve, it's in long-term storage. It's not where you need it to be. So see what you can do, even parts of your day, if you can do any of it without multitasking, even something simple as washing dishes. Don't have your phone up on the windowsill watching a program. Just wash the dishes and see how that works for you. See if you can kind of extend that over and over a little bit longer and longer. So when
Judy,
with, go ahead, question?
oh, never mind. Never
Yeah.
mind.
Okay. When you're dealing with the Time Lord, you have to think about the fact of you can't get things done, right? Like, why do I lose focus? Why do I work past the point of productivity? So you have to remember that your brain loves ordered lists. It really does. To be able to write things down is really going to be helpful. That you want to have intentional worry time. So worry time, what I mean is not worry throughout the day, but actually maybe before or after your evening meal, you would write down your worry list. This is your time to worry. Your brain begins to get kind of situated in the fact that it expects to worry at that time of the day, and you're able to kind of shift your worry until that evening time of your day. You create your worry list becomes your to-do list, and your to-do list can become your action list. So it's really very healthy to be able to write down your list. You do want to be able to have boundaries. You want to be able to have any task that can start and stop. A lot of what we do just goes on forever, right? You have to have some things that you can complete and feel successful at. You do want to have to-do lists, and it does give you proof of achievement. Maybe like the first thing that you do that's like excited, like in the morning, is you make your bed. That, ta-da, you got one task done, right? The other thing is to consider time boxing. Time boxing is when you actually set up a time, an amount of time that you're going to work on something, only that. You focus on it, you don't look at anything else on your screen, you mute other things, and you're able to focus for about 50 minutes. You make an assessment, you evaluate how you did with it. If you need at that point to stand up and go get something to drink, or you need to check your emails, then do it, and then come back and consider resetting that timer for another 50 minutes to see if you can't move forward on that project. Sometimes that's kind of a nice thing to be able to do. For those of you who have not done that before, you can try 10 minutes. Just start with 10 minutes, set a timer if you're highly distractible, but just do one thing, no phone, no emails, and at the end of the time, look at what you've accomplished and really feel good about it. Another thing you can do is scanning for positive things. So you want to think about all the things we do all day long, from the time you wake up and grab your phone before your feet hit the ground. You have started scanning in a negative way all day long. What if only, and trying to see what's going on, right? But if you could start to scan for positive, actually train your brain again to scan for positive, that's a really important thing because a lot of us have lost that ability. 98% of your day is positive, but what happens is we get stuck like Velcro on the negative part of the day, right? And then we just go over it and over it and over it. So the idea of scanning for positive throughout your day using something like 3 good things, that it's a thing, you can Google it, that you're able to identify at the end of the day 3 good things that happened and what was your involvement in making those good things happen, and to be able to feel successful. Did you leave a few minutes early and you got a good parking place? That's a good thing. So, did you do laundry last night and you had socks that match? That's a good thing. Did you get a compliment? Did you finish something? Did you do a skill that you hadn't done before? Think about all the things that you could put on that positive list to be able to just think about positive stuff, so that at the end of 14 days, if you did this 14 days, at the end of the 14 days, you would actually be scanning for positive more and more throughout the day and even earlier, so that you would say, oh, that's a good thing. I got to make sure I write that down. When you write it down at the end of the day, and the writing is the important part of it, what's nice about that is that you're able to celebrate what you did. You actually release endorphins, you feel good about it, and so that you might be able to even sleep better. So that would be a nice thing too. That would be like a win-win. Speaking of sleeping, it's important that we do have a good amount of sleep. It's important that you have consistency around sleep. So here's a question. The worst invention, right? Put your guesses in the chat. What do you think the worst invention was? All right, so I'll continue on. We'll come to the answer at the end. So an all-nighter can actually age your brain up to 2 years, right? So try not to do an all-nighter. You really do need your sleep. The amount of sleep that you wake up with and feel rested, that works for you. Everybody has different amounts. Usually they say about 7 hours is a sweet spot. With your circadian rhythm, if you work the day shift, if you go to school during the day, you would like to go to sleep around 10 or 11 at night. That's usually the good spot for your body to go to sleep. Your brain does need time to form connections, to process and remember. It does not learn anything new at night, only files information. So remember, your memory and your learning will be impacted. When you sleep, your body recovers. Your ears, your eyes need about 5 to 7 hours of dark and quiet. Your joints and muscles need to spread out, kind of relax. Your heart, your brain, all of those things will benefit from sleep. Stage 2 sleep is that key memory storage, and stage 3 is your regeneration. All right, did anybody put anything in the chat about worst invention?
TV. That's what Anne said.
That was a good guess. So the actual answer to this question, given this quiz, was the light bulb. So you think about the fact that once the light bulb was invented, we no longer use circadian rhythm. We no longer use light and dark to go to sleep. And so all the signals that the world gives us that it's time for sleep, we were able to ignore it because we could leave on the light, right? right? And then that last thing about leptin, the signal that says your stomach is full, will be off balance if you don't sleep well, right? So it actually will give you the wrong message around that, around wanting to eat, right? So some tips that you can think about. You can think about, like I said, the sweet spot is 7 hours. You can think about your sleep routine. So kids have sleep routines, right? For those of you who are parents out there, you know this, that they know what's coming from the time the dinner is over. They know the things that happen after dinner before they go to bed. For us, we have to think about things. We actually have to be thoughtful about it. Think about the amount of blue screens you have going before you go to sleep. Do you have your phone, the TV, your iPad, your computer? Do you have everything going? What that's doing is that's turning off your ability to produce melatonin. That's a problem because that's what helps you go to sleep. You want to think about your room itself. Is the air in your room clear so that you feel like you're getting good uh, oxygenation? So think about the last time you changed your filter. What about the last time you washed your pillow or got a new pillow? When you're setting your time for waking up, you want to think back, like count backwards from your wake time. So if I have to be up at this time in the morning in order to get to work on time, if I count back 7 hours, this is when I need to start closing things down. And you want to close things down about 20 minutes before you actually think you're going to go to sleep. So that would mean maybe you read a book, maybe you do your dishes, maybe you fold the clothes that are on the other side of your bed. Whatever it is, you want to be able to have something that is non-screen time to help that melatonin build up in your body. The other thing that's really important is consistency. You want that circadian rhythm. For most of us, if you go to school and work and you have kind of irregular patterns, you are jet lagged every week because you don't have the same wake and sleep patterns. So kind of think about what you kind of need to do and just understand that that's why you're feeling tired. And if you can make a difference in it, even by a half hour, it would be really good. All right, so when we think about our smartphones, our blue screens, you think about the whole fact that the smartphone really, the technology is making us less efficient. There was an ideal time when the cell phone, before it became the smartphone, was helpful. But now the smartphone is more powerful, can do more things than most computers, right? The blue screen really does alert our brain and decreases the melatonin, like I mentioned before. And brightening at night does bring up your stage of sleep. So if you have the phone at your bed and the light goes on, the screen goes on because you have the Kohl's 30% off coupon that dropped at 4 in the morning, you will start to lighten up your sleep. You won't wake up, but your brain will make that shift. So you want to be able to stop that. You want to be able to put that away. So you think about what we used to have. You think about that we used to have desk phones and wall phones, and people just let it ring, right? They didn't answer it. We didn't have messages. Now it's implicit that people expect you to be reachable. How long can you tolerate if you send a text or an email before you get a response? Think about how long that is, especially with text. Do you give people 5 minutes? Do you give them a half hour? Give them a half a day? How long is it before you expect or you start to call or start to connect in different ways to see where they are and what happened and are you okay and that whole thing? Um, the idea, some of the tips at the bottom, you can use a screen filter if you're working on the computer at night. You can allow your day to start without the phone. What would happen if you got up and you didn't grab your phone the first thing? Could you do it? See if you can kind of get yourself into that. And then end your day 20 minutes earlier so that you have those screens. That's really a nice thing. Thank you. Water for any of these talks. Any of our wellness pillars always have water involved in it. And if you do one thing, water is like the free spot on your bingo card. Dehydration will actually slow down the shift of your amygdala to your prefrontal cortex. So from your fight, flight, freeze to your logic and reasoning, it will actually slow that down. Even just 2% of dehydration slows down your ability to shift from the reaction to the reasoning. So you do want to think about how much water you're drinking. And if you're feeling a little spicy, think about the fact that maybe you have not had enough water. And If you have these hunger feelings, it might be your body saying, hey, you missed my message about needing hydration. Now I'm telling you I'm hungry because I'm still hoping to get some hydration. So think about what you can do with water. It's pretty amazing. You know, it is protective impact on your kidneys, your vision, your tension, anxiety, your visual working memory are all affected with hydration. So very important that, especially as you're studying and you're really doing some intense work, that you're able to hydrate when you're doing that. Another thing is just getting up and move. Like, how good is that? Just being able to get your body moving. Your body was built upright. It was not built as a couch potato. So you do want to at least every 90 minutes to get up and move and be able to get the joints going. It really is a critical task that your brain does max out at about 90 minutes. So it's just a 5-minute break to be able to move and get those new neurotransmitters cooking so that you can come back and feel fresh. Instead of trying to power through it, you'll actually end up taking longer and not being as effective if you try to do that. So get outside if you can. That green gray, as I always say, is the most calming part of being outside. It's that color green gray that really does calm your brain. And it really does allow you to pick up different neurotransmitters. So definitely take advantage of outside, even if you can just look outside, have that 20-20-20 rule where every 20 minutes you stop at the screen, you take a look away from the screen. If you have an outside or a green gray picture, absolutely take a look at that, take a couple of deep breaths for about 20 seconds and then come back and you'll find yourself feeling refreshed. All right, so as we're talking about this, things that will affect our brain, I'm going to ask Mary to step in and introduce herself and share some information.
Hi, everyone. Some of you all may have seen me before, but my name's Mary Duckett. I'm the Senior Wellness Program Administrator at Rush Wellness. I worked here for I've worked here for 2 years now, but before that, I worked for 8 years at Loyola University in Rogers Park, doing alcohol and cannabis education. So I was just going to talk a little bit about, just quickly about substance use. And the brain when we talk about supercharging our brain. So, as we know, alcohol and drugs are pretty normalized in our society right now. And, cannabis is legal, alcohol is legal. We're all adults and we make intentional choices around. Whether we choose to use substances, how often we use substances. Um, but when we think about things like, having a glass of wine before bed, things like that. Those are things that people use maybe to calm down after a long day or socialize with a friend, like meet up at a bar or something like that. And those are all totally valid choices. But I did want to bring up substance use when you talk about, preparing for if finals are going through a busy week, just being careful about really how I think it's just helpful sometimes to take a step back and think about like how you're using substances if you choose to use them. If you feel like you always feel like you need a glass of wine after a difficult day, or you always feel like you need to smoke cannabis when you're stressed out about something. That might be a sign that you're kind of using it a little more to like cope than to just kind of, enjoy yourself. And so I just, when I worked at Loyola, I would talk to students about that. And I just think it's helpful for all of us, no matter our age or how long we've been drinking or using cannabis, to think about that and just be like, okay, how am I using this? Do I feel like maybe if you feel like it's the main way you're coping when you're stressed about something, it's like, okay, maybe I'll take a step back and find another like way to deal with stress, or like try to do this a little less often. So because I think with our brain, kind of becomes like, that's the way we were de-stressing. So we immediately go to that, like we feel like we need it. And, that can also lead to dependence in some cases as well. But yeah, I just think it's helpful to think about like, okay, maybe should I connect with a therapist, or should I even, like Judy said, just like get outside when I'm feeling stressed, or like go to a yoga class or something like that. Okay, you can go to the next slide. Thanks. Okay, and then thinking about alcohol, I wanted to just briefly share something about alcohol and sleep since Judy had been talking about sleep. Um, so alcohol is a depressant, as I know most of us know. So it kind of slows things down, reduces heart rate, makes you sleepy, and so because of that, sometimes people use it to help them go to sleep. Because it's like, oh, I really need to get to sleep. I'll just have a couple beers or something like that. But the issue with using alcohol to get to sleep is it may cause you to fall asleep, but research has shown that it leads to a lot more like disruptive sleep. So the quality of sleep will be poorer if you go to sleep intoxicated. And alcohol use also interferes with the brain's ability to be in REM sleep or in dream sleep. And when you're dreaming, it helps you like process a lot of things, restore, and if alcohol is like interfering with that stage of sleep, that can be an issue. So you might, uh, this happens like if you might remember like if you ever like have been had a couple drinks and then the next day you slept a lot but you might not feel like rested, so that's what happens with that. So the tip is wind down after a night of studying or a long day at work with hot tea or a podcast or meditation, just something that will help you feel a little more in the moment. We actually Rush staff have access to a mindfulness app through the Rush Employee Assistance Program for free. I'll share that slide later, but that might be a great tool to use at night as part of your sleep routine. And then, yeah, so you can see low amounts of alcohol decrease sleep quality by 9.3%. So I thought that was interesting. And then thinking about cannabis, so cannabis is interesting because it's legal in Illinois and many other states now. It's still federally illegal, and a lot of people do use it for stress relief and for medical purposes and have valid medical cards for pain or mental health. But as someone who used to be a college health educator, I just wanted to share with the students and just in general that cannabis is legal in Illinois, but since it's federally illegal, you can't use it at any higher education institution like Rush because we receive federal funding. Um, Also with cannabis, it's something that folks use for stress relief, but since it contains THC, it is a drug. It's something that could lead, if you use it often, it could lead to dependence. Also, folks that chronically use cannabis could lead to a lack of motivation, tiredness, and short-term memory issues, which could affect academic performance or work performance. And so my tip is trying to avoid or limit the use of substances and find healthier ways to relieve stress. That's kind of like before meditating, listening to music, watching a show, or anything that helps you just kind of be in the moment and de-stress. And then the last thing is thinking about Adderall and other study drugs. So um, I think, with Adderall, I think it's sometimes people who use it with a prescription, it's a completely if someone has ADHD, they use Adderall. I think sometimes Adderall kind of gets a bad name because we talk about it like with study drugs, but it is something that is very helpful for people that have ADHD. But the issue with Adderall is, especially in colleges and even in high school now too, people obtain it without a prescription from friends and use it to study. But as we know, using anything without a prescription can be dangerous because you don't know, you don't have a doctor telling you how much to take or monitoring your intake of that. Also, just with drugs in general, they don't actually improve your academic success overall. They just might help you like stay up. For people that like, especially people that don't have a prescription, if you're using it for that. So it's been shown it doesn't actually help you like kind of retain more information, and regular use, especially if you're using it and you don't have ADHD, it can cause irritability, anxiety, and lead to dependence. So as you prepare for finals or big projects, create a realistic schedule where you're avoiding all-nighters. I know that's easier said than done. Include studying, short breaks, and sleep. And then prioritize content to study based on what exams are coming up and what might take longer to learn and retain. So really just be realistic and intentional, because I know we like to set big goals, but we have to think about what our brain and body can actually do. Great, back to you, Judy.
Thank you very much. So we talk about this a lot about your amygdala and that 6-second shift, that if you're feeling irritable or if you're feeling overwhelmed or over anxious, it might be because you're stuck in that fight, flight, freeze. And you want to be able to do some things that are very easy to do that could shift you out of it, or consider what's happening and maybe get some support around counseling. The easiest thing to do is just recognize what you're feeling. Your heart is racing, you're feeling stressed, you're clenching your jaw, things, kind of more symptom types of things that are happening to you that, like I said earlier, you sound a little spicy, that you didn't mean to say that. That means you're kind of stuck in that amygdala, and that you want to be able to shift that. Take 6 seconds. So 3 deep breaths is a good thing to do. So do that right now, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Take some good deep breaths, and you are actually able to shift those neural pathways so that you're able to kind of have a new feel for what's going on. And it works really well if you're going from patient to patient, client to client. If you do that in between when you're doing your hand hygiene, you're being able to take that deep breath. You have that ability to make that shift to that prefrontal cortex, where there's so much more logic and reasoning that you can work with. The other thing to consider is mindfulness. And I know people go, "Oh, I can't meditate," or I can't do yoga, I can't do that." All mindfulness is being aware, it's noticing. That's really what it is. So when you get up and you're taking your shower, are you in your shower, or are you literally thinking about the meeting that you're going to have once you get to work? Or when you're driving, are you able to pay attention to what's around you? Or again, have you kind of gone to what happened yesterday or what you're worried about today? So the idea about being mindful is just the ability to think about, be in the moment, try to stop that multitasking just for a short time, be able to limit distractions, even if it comes down to turning off notifications on your phone or putting it away completely, so that you're able to have some time. For some people, praying is one way to be very mindful. You can do yoga, you can take brain breaks. There's actually classes or courses at some colleges called Do Nothing, and it's a 1 hour class where you go in and you do nothing. Some people choose to knit, other people choose to lay on their back on the floor, or listen to just some sounds and be able to do that. Breathing, walking, sleeping, all good things to be able to do that. When you do take a brain break, you do actually allow your brain to kind of switch that mental activity, and it shifts the brain's communication to network with a fresh supply of neurotransmitters. And that's the important thing. The intermission of taking that brain break really does allow your brain chemicals to replenish, and then you're able to kind of restore your resting network. It does help you refocus. It could be as short as 5 minutes, it could be as long as an hour, but the idea is to be able to think about the patterning in your brain. And there's a pattern of 17 minutes when you're doing intense work that you actually need to pull away and be able to allow your brain to take a break. It's very important to do it. Optimally, you want to do it at least every 90 minutes. And it could be as simple as standing up, looking out the window, taking 3 deep breaths, anything that you can allow your brain just to take a break. I do have this on here for us, for those of us who have a harder time taking deep breaths. And so if you breathe with the shape, so breathe in as it increases, breathe out as it decreases. For some of you who have not done this, it will be difficult. You'll feel like you can't keep up with it, or you feel like you're holding your breath. But the idea is just to try it for a minute and see if you're able to breathe with the circle. There's all kinds of different exercises like this, but again, if you focus on it, you do the breathing, and you distract yourself from other things. kind of a nice thing to do. All right. Another thing you can do for your wellness is just think about the arts. Your brain is so happy when you are doing things that stimulate you through the arts. So if you think about your experiences of concentration and your brain and what gives physical shape and builds problem-solving skills, it really is artistic expression. So whether you're painting, you're listening to instrumental music, and that's the click is the instrumental music as background. It really can improve your memory. Dancing is wonderful. To be able to move your body, to be able to stimulate your body to release endorphins is really great. Think about your entrance song or your fight song, like walking down the hall. What would be your entrance song or what would be your fight song? Like, would it be We Are the Champions or This Is My Fight Song or the theme song from Frozen, whatever it is. If you can hum that as you're walking down the hallway, you actually do kind of give yourself a break and kind of change how you feel inside. So it's just kind of a good thing to do to be able to distract yourself just a little bit. Right. Another thing you can do is mini yoga. So for those of you who don't mind getting up, let's do this little exercise. Just a very tiny little exercise. So what you're going to do is you're going to stand with your feet apart, your hands at your sides, your palms are forward, and this is called mountain pose. So if you think about how strong that feels, right? It feels like very strong, like if somebody were to kind of bump into you, you wouldn't fall over. You want to feel that solid base and take a good deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. And think about your intentions. What could you do today that will make you better than yesterday? Just kind of think about that for a moment. All right, so soften your shoulders, kind of roll them back, include those shoulder blades. Bring your hands gently overhead. Put your right foot forward. Fold forward and stretch. So you are now in a warrior pose. So I know that I'm too close so you can't really see, but one hand's up in front and one's in back. I have my right foot in front, left foot in back. And what I want you to say is the calmest person in the room is the strongest person in the room. All right. Okay. Bring your hands back up, shift your feet, put the other hand out. Again, warrior pose. Now with certainty say, I am the calmest person in the room. I am the strongest person in the room. Hands back together, hands to your heart to increase that flow of love, and say out loud, Namaste, which is I bow to the divine in you. And hopefully that brought a little smile to your face and that you're able to just feel a little bit relaxed for the moment. All right. So anytime you want to be successful with your brain, you want to be able to use muscle memory because that's the important thing, that your brain actually lays down neural pathways for things you do. What you practice becomes stronger. So if you're practicing positive things, you start out with positive affirmations, you start out, you're looking good, good morning, those kind of things. Or if you start out scrolling, you go down different pathways. And so it's an important thing. So you do have to practice. Your rest does affect your immunity. Actually, the way our body reacts to immunity and inflammation has to do with stress. It's really important to identify strategies that will combat stress and keep your cortisol level down. Today, we went from being frenetic with multitasking to doing nothing. Finally, gratitude for those who you are and for what you will become. Intentionally set up your workspace. Recognize when you have an overactive cortisol, your stress levels are up. Identify the reactions that are going on in your body before you actually make the assessment. Identify the pieces to that that's happening. Try to take some brain breaks. Try to be able to have an effect on your sleep by being able to have sleep hygiene or some consistency around that. Think about your nutrition, especially hydration, but also about your food. If you were to open your refrigerator, would you have ingredients or would you have food? If you have ingredients, That means you have to do something to it. You probably are more likely to go to the cabinet and get the crackers or the chips or the candy, right? So if you had food that you could actually grab and go, that would be much healthier for you. And how successful are you when you're able to make your lunch the night before, probably around dinner time, so that in the morning you just grab it when you open the refrigerator and it feels great? That could be your second wonderful thing that happens in the day. You want to make some wellness choices, including hydration, and you do want to think about moving every 90 minutes. If you can, get about 6,000 steps in, work up to that. That's really a nice goal to have. But in all of this, you want to give yourself grace, right? Try not to feel bad that you haven't done it. So then I'm going to go ahead and have Mary step back in here. And be able to do this.
Oh yeah, I'll share my screen here.
Thank you.
1 second. Let's see. Okay. Um, okay. Can you see that, Judy?
Yes, looks
Okay.
good.
Hi everyone. So I'm going to talk about the resources that you all have access to through Rush Wellness, where Judy and I both work. So the main thing we do at Rush Wellness is we provide free therapy for all full-time staff and for all students at Rush. Completely free, don't bill at all. It's a really great resource, and there's so many different reasons you can go utilize therapy. I like to really emphasize to folks that please don't wait till you feel like you're in crisis to access therapy or start to get connected, because you can talk about work, you can talk about relationships, just anxiety, so many different things. So we have a physical office. At Rumsey in the Triangle Office Building, Suite 150. And we also now have therapists that are on site twice a week at Oak Park and Rush Copley, which is really awesome. And so we have expanded. But if you would like to access therapy, you could make an in-person appointment, or we also have video appointments, just depending on your location and flexibility and everything like that. These are actual pictures of our office in Chicago. They're not AI. It's a pretty space. It was designed to kind of look like a spa. So if you are here and want to do an in-person appointment, it's nice to see this space. We also always have LaCroix and granola bars. All right. So, like I said, our main service is counseling. Our therapists work here at Rush, which is unique. Rush is one of the only hospitals that does that, where folks can access free therapy at the hospital, not through an employee assistance program. Um, and we also do case management. If you are looking for a psychiatrist or more specialized services, we can help you find that. We don't have, like I said, our services are free. We also don't have caps on sessions. So as long as you work here, you can see someone at whatever cadence you and your therapist decide. You'll have an initial intake appointment with your therapist. And then you all can decide, like, are you meeting twice a month, once a month, whatever works for you. When you schedule your initial appointment, you will schedule online on our website. We have a secure client portal called Simple Practice. But if you ever have any issues scheduling, you can also email Rush Wellness and we can help you with that. We also have an energy pod. Some of you all may have used it. It's this cool, like futuristic nap pod for meditation. It used to be in our office. It's actually now in the Rush Fitness Center. You don't have to be a member to use it. It's free for everybody. You can just walk in and ask them if it's available, or you can call them, but you can use it for 20-minute sessions. You push a button, it plays music, you're alone in the space. It's just a nice place to meditate. And then students also have access to an energy pod in the Cultural Center in Armour. So this is our Inside Rush page. We also, when you go to the main Inside Rush page, we actually have a tab at the top that says Wellness, which is easy to find. Um, if you would like to make an appointment for therapy, you would click on the Center for Clinical Wellness tile, and then it will lead you to schedule an appointment. Um, so a common question that and I'm sure Judy gets when we're presenting is folks are like, it's great there's free therapy, but why would I access therapy where I work? As they're worried about confidentiality and privacy. So that's something we definitely take into account. In our physical office, we have a private waiting room, a one-way in, one-way out flow of traffic. We have soundproof consultation rooms. We use a different electronic medical record than Rush does. And then we have a private client portal. So there's a lot of things that we do to really protect your privacy and confidentiality, so you can access therapy at work. We also have a wellness triage pager. This is so we're open Monday through Friday, 7 to 7, but we always have a therapist holding the wellness pager. So always someone you can call it 24/7. Folks use this if maybe they're feeling really overwhelmed about something maybe that happened during their shift. If you feel like you're having like a lot of anxiety, um, just lots of different things, not like a 911 level emergency, but just more like I can't wait a few days for an appointment. So if you call the pager, someone will call you back in 60 minutes, so in an hour, and then could either help you like get an appointment or just process what's going on. So this information is all on our website too, like how to call. This is pretty well utilized by staff and students at Rush, so I encourage you to put the number in your phone if you need it. We also have an employee student assistance program. This is a great complement to our services because our therapy services are only available for staff and students at Rush. You can't use them for family members, but the employee assistance program at Rush you can use for family members. So you can use it for therapy for family members or for help with finding childcare, legal services. It's all virtual. You get 6 free sessions. And folks I know, staff that have used it at Rush have generally good feedback about it, think it's a good resource, especially for, like, their partners and children. And then there's a facilitated access program where you can, access Rush clinical services sooner through this program if you work at Rush, which is a great resource as well. And then, sorry, no, I only have a few minutes. I'll just briefly talk about our wellness program. So that's the main thing I do. I'm a health educator. So I was brought in to kind of coordinate the programming that we do on different aspects of wellness. So you can see this is our Inside Rush page. We have all these different things going on during the year. I'll focus on a couple of them that you have access to. We offer, well, mainly Judy, but also myself sometimes, wellness talks. So Judy's the wellness talk expert. People can request talks for their department or program on so many different topics like work-life balance, nutrition, resiliency, and we will present either in person or virtually. So there's a request form on our website. Mental health first aid is, I'm sure some of you on the call have taken it. We've had a lot of people at Rush take it. It's a free certification class. Well, Rush is offering it for free and paying for staff and students to take it. If you want to take it, you have to attend a class from 9 to 3 on either a Saturday or Sunday. We offer it once a month on Zoom. I know that's a big chunk of time, but once you take it, you get a certificate that you're certified in mental health first aid and can help somebody going through a crisis. And this is a really great class. We've had a lot of people take it. Um, and then we also do different like coaching programs for nurses. And right now we have a resident faculty coaching program going on that's about to wrap up. Right now we have this group going on called Anchored. It is a therapy group for staff, and we also have one for students. It meets once a month. We've been doing this for a little over a year, but recently we switched it to virtual to make it more accessible for folks at all of the hospitals. We also are focusing on a different topic every month instead of making it general. So the group coming up for staff on I think it's Tuesday, April 22nd, is on chronic stress. So it's at noon. If you feel like you're experiencing a lot of chronic stress, I encourage you to sign up for it. Like I said, everything is on our website. It's on the quick links on our internet site on Inside Rush. So I encourage you to look into that. And then I think May is burnout. And then Peer Connect is a peer support program. We have staff at and students at Rush that have signed up to be peer supporters. They are certified in mental health first aid, and you can book 30-minute Teams meetings with them just to talk about resources at Rush, to kind of vent about things going on. Of course, it's not therapy. It's more kind of it is peer support. We've been calling it Peer Connect. Activating April is a program we have going on right now. We are encouraging folks to set small goals for themselves around different things involving physical wellness. Today, we are wrapping up hydration. I think next week is nutrition. So we are doing a drawing at the end of each week if you fill out a survey saying what you did. I think this week we're giving away a nice Yeti water bottle. And we're also giving I think the big prize at the end of the month is a Tempur-Pedic pillow. Those things are really nice. So I encourage you to participate in Activating April. It's a fun way you don't have to do anything big, but just set kind of incremental goals for yourself and start kind of getting outside. We also, so through the Employee Assistance Program, you have access to a free mindfulness app called COA Care 360. To be able to access it, you just have to have an active Employee Assistance Program account through ComPsych. If the QR code doesn't work, you also on our website there on the main page, it says like COA Care Flyer. You can click on that and it'll give you detailed instructions on how to make an account because there's just a few different steps. But it's an app where you can do like a sleep meditation, stress reduction, things like that. I used it. I tested it for you all recently and I thought it was cool. And then, someone else used it. Oh, I remember someone in the chat said they used it. I remember you downloaded it last month when we did the wellness talk. So that's great. And then the fitness center is something you have to pay for. Our office helps with the fitness center, but it's its own place. But I did want to mention that if you're a staff member and you join the fitness center, it's $41 a month, but if you use payroll deduction, it's actually $30 a month. So that's a great savings. It includes all the equipment and classes. And then if you're a Rush University student, membership is free because the university decided to do that starting in the summer. So that is exciting. But if you have any questions about the fitness center, you can also email us. And then, yeah, that was all I had. I just wanted to share the different resources with you. Judy, do you have anything to wrap up?
Yeah, I think there was just one more slide on the other thing, so go ahead and.
Oh, I think it wasn't on my slide deck. Sorry.
That's okay.
That was all the slides I had.
Okay.
If you have one more you want to share.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so I hope that there has been some good information for you. And my last question was going to be, was there one thing that you could start? Go. One thing that you could start today in order to activate your April?
Go supercharge your brain and activate April.
And you can put it in the chat too. Does anybody have any questions?
This is Brandon. I was just gonna say I was trying to find the link, but Rush through the insurance program has the Active Fit Direct fitness gym program. So it's like $28 a month, and you can choose like LA Fitness and different programs. So it's a lot cheaper than if you went to the gyms directly for that. So it's called Active Fit Direct. You can call them and they'll tell you.
Okay, thank you,
I
Brandon.
didn't know that. Thanks, Brandon. That's
Yeah, it used to be you could join multiple gyms for that. I had that for I was a girl. I go to LA Fitness, Planet Fitness, but now they changed to just one gym you can choose. So a lot of insurance programs have it, but yeah, it's something to check out.
Very good, very good. Yeah, and I did put the SharePoint site in the chat if anybody wanted to go to Activating April. All right, well, I want to thank Mary for being my co-presenter today. My hope for you is that you will allow yourself to supercharge your brain in many different ways, and you have a good end to the semester, quarter, program, whatever you have. Congratulations, feel good about what you do. All right, be well. We'll see you next month. We have one more time this year.